BTS News Today. Behind the sparkling stage lights and the cheers of thousands of ARMY around the world, it tells a story of deep love. The story of how a man named Much Jungkook loved Park Jimin, not just as group mates, but as a figure who has filled the unspoken spaces of the heart since they first met. This love is not just an ordinary romance, and not just friendship. This is a love story that grew out of respect, protection, sacrifice, and a togetherness that has existed for more than a decade. Since their debut in 2013 as a member of BTS, the relationship between Jungkook and Jimin has attracted the attention of many fans. They not only perform compactly on stage, but it also shows a great emotional closeness behind the scenes. Jungkook, the passionate magne who sometimes seems stubborn, he has a soft side that he rarely shows to others. However, the soft side often appears when he is near Jimin. In many moments, Jungkook's gaze to Jimin was not an ordinary gaze. It was a gaze full of meaning, as if just by looking at Jimin, Jungkook's world becomes brighter. There are countless times Jungkook has shown his affection for Jimin secretly, whether it's by keeping your distance when Jimin is sad, or with a silent hug given when the world feels heavy for Jimin. Jungkook's love for Jimin is not always expressed in words. He often conveyed it through small acts, bringing Jimin's favorite drink during rehearsals, enveloping Jimin who fell asleep on the studio couch, or look at him with a look that logic cannot explain. It is a love that flows in silence, but vibrates the soul. Many fans are beginning to realize the depth of their relationship, especially when seeing how Jungkook is always by Jimin's side at important moments. When Jimin had a hard time with his health, Jungkook was the first to look uneasy. He hides his worries behind a smile, but his eyes can't lie. It hurts so much to see Jimin in pain. In an interview, Jungkook once said, "Jimin Hyung is a very warm person. When she smiled, I felt the world calm down." The sentence sounds simple, but implies deep feelings. Jungkook wasn't talking as a casual friend. He spoke as someone whose heart had long been tethered. The love Jungkook has for Jimin is not a demanding love. It does not ask for anything in return. He loves in silence, in action, in unwavering dedication. Even when they're far apart due to military duty or individual activities, Jungkook always takes the time to show that he cares. He rewatched the video of Jimin's appearance. He plays Jimin's solo in the middle of the night, and he even wrote lyrics that reminded him of Jimin. Many suspect that some of the songs Jungkook wrote were secretly inspired by Jimin. Songs that talk about loss, hope, and love that never dies. When you're in a room together, the atmosphere between them was different. Despite being surrounded by many people, Jungkook always focused on Jimin. He watched Jimin's body language, listened carefully, and even knew when Jimin was trying to hide his emotions. Their relationship is built from understanding each other without the need to talk much. In silence, they spoke to each other through their eyes. In laughter, they heal invisible wounds. ARMY. As witnesses of their long journey, it's always a pleasure to see these beautiful moments. Some recorded their interactions in compilation videos, some write poems about them, and not a few feel their relationship is an example of pure affection, who is not affected by popularity, pressure, or the spotlight of the outside world. Jungkook loves Jimin with his whole being. He loves her as one loves his home, where he feels safe, comfortable, and accepted as is. In difficult times, Jimin is also always Jungkook's reason for staying. When fatigue sets in, when the noises of the outside world begin to disturb, Jungkook finds solace in Jimin's presence. Jimin who always listens without judging. Jimin knows when to speak and when to be silent. For Jungkook, Jimin is a refuge, a place where he can be himself without fear of rejection. This is not a love story bursting with drama or conflict. It is a love story that grows slowly, deeply, and full of sincerity. Although many wonder if they have feelings for each other more than just best friends, Jungkook's answers are always full of mystery. He never explained clearly, but his actions and expressions are more than enough to answer it. Love, in any form, doesn't always need labels. And maybe that's what makes Jungkook and Jimin's story so special. Their love is not bound by definition. Their love flows like a calm river, but it brings incredible depth. When Jimin had a bad day, Jungkook was the first to entertain. When Jimin achieves something big, Jungkook is the proudest. He loves Jimin in all forms. When Jimin laughs, when Jimin cries, when Jimin shines, and even when Jimin felt like he wasn't good enough. Jungkook sees beauty in Jimin's every weakness. He never claimed Jimin to be perfect, because for Jungkook, Jimin is already perfect in his imperfection. The most touching moment occurred when they shared a hug after a big concert. Jungkook hugged Jimin so tightly, as if he didn't want to let go. The camera might just capture those seconds as part of a regular interaction, but for those who really pay attention, it's a loving hug. Hug someone who is not only proud, but also grateful for having people like Jimin in his life. Jungkook's love for Jimin is mature love. He does not rush, does not demand, does not judge. He only exists faithfully, patiently, and with genuine love. Maybe the world will never know Jungkook's whole heart. Perhaps not all words can fully explain. But one thing is certain, Jungkook loves Jimin more than words can express. Their journey was not a smooth story from the beginning. Jungkook, who was a quiet teenager at the time, was only 15 years old. Meet Jimin, who came from Busan with a fiery spirit. There is a sense of awkwardness. There are marked personality differences, but slowly they found common ground. Jimin, who is known to be gentle and affectionate, being one of the first people to actually approach Jungkook, not as the magne, but as a human being you might be looking for a place to feel safe. Since his trainee days, Jimin has cared for Jungkook in a way that only someone who cares wholeheartedly can. And Jungkook, unknowingly, began to grow in that circle of comfort. He didn't say much thanks verbally, but he showed it all through silent attention. When Jimin is exhausted from training, Jungkook will be there, waiting. They are hungry just to eat together. When Jimin was stressed out by the performance, Jungkook didn't say much. He just sat nearby, calm through his presence. Time goes on. They grow together, from a teenage boy to an adult man. But what never changed was the way Jungkook looked at Jimin. He is not just a co-worker or Hyung. Jimin is home, is light, is where his heart goes home. And although they are in a very large and well-known group, when Jungkook was asked to describe who inspired him the most, the answer is almost always implied: Jimin. When BTS began their world tour, pressure and busy schedules often make members fall ill or mentally exhausted. This is where Jungkook's protective side towards Jimin is evident. In many moments behind the stage, the camera captured the scene where Jungkook secretly massages Jimin's shoulder, bringing him a drink of water, or even wiping the sweat on Jimin's neck without being asked. He didn't do it to be seen. He does it because he cares. One of the most emotional moments happened during BTS' final concert in Seoul a few years ago. Amid tears, sweat, and resounding applause, Jimin was barely able to hide his excitement. Jungkook stood beside her, and although he himself seemed to struggle to hold back tears, he reached out and held Jimin's hand so tightly. The grip is more than just a support. It was a recognition that in all storms, he will always be there for Jim. Their closeness was the subject of discussion among fans, the media, and even industry peers. But they both chose to remain silent. They do not need to explain their relationship to the world, because what they have is much greater than just a definition. Jungkook's love for Jimin is a love that doesn't seek the spotlight, but it grows even more in the midst of silence. When Jimin released his solo song, Jungkook was the first to share it on social media. He praised not only Jimin's voice, but also his soul. He wrote,
"We all start losers.